You're listening to Northbound, presented by Big Time Hoops. For the North, by the North, Big Time. And now your hosts, Tom Bard and Steve Carmichael.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Northbound, the podcast, presented by Katahdin Trust. And right off the bat, Steve just said it too before we went on the air. We're going to apologize to the folks out there. It's been a while. We've just been super busy. Steve basically has like an ESPN type broadcast schedule. This guy just somewhere all the time. Me, I'm a busy man myself. So first off, we apologize, but we're back. And as a little apology note, we're going to do 2 episodes this week. We're going to do a boys one and then a girls one. So you're probably listening to the boys right now. Girls will be out very shortly. But with that, Steve, it's like you just said before we started recording, a lot has happened since we last spoke, right? It's probably been about a month. So we got a lot to get caught up on. But let's just start with seeing how you're doing over there.
Doing good. 31 games already through just about a month or so. That's basically a game a night. So it's coming down to the final stretch, a little bit less than a month until tournament.
Yeah.
Everything's starting to iron out a little bit where teams are going to land and who's the favorites, who's the contenders, who the pretenders, who are the surprises. Lots happened, lots still going on, and lots still to decide.
Yeah, I was just pumping out some standings graphics today and saw like some teams have already played like 12, 13 games, which is crazy that there's still about a month to go and only like 5 games for some of these teams to go. But it's the way it goes. It's how it goes every year. I thought you were going to jump right into your boys, Prescott, with the huge win over Caribou this past week. But I don't know if you want to save it for later on or if you just want to go ahead and brag now. It's up to you.
Well, we'll save it when we start talking about Class B and Class C. But that rivalry was starting to feel a little stale just because it's kind of been one-sided over the past 7-8 years. But that is just what the rivalry needed. It's just what the doctor ordered. A little upset.
Yeah, you guys have been getting Bangor Daily ran something on the Caribou Prescott rivalry. It's been picked up across the state. We were there. Big Time Hoops was there covering it. So a massive, massive win for your Wildcats. Congratulations. We're 2-0 in our rivalry games because my Warriors knocked off Madawaska in the time that we last recorded as well. So shout out to my boys there, which we'll get into in a little bit. But let's start right there in B. We could start in A, but for the most part, it's been the Northern Maine show in Class A. Camden Hills 11-0, leading the charge. Brunswick number 2 11-2. But there is a massive game this Friday. Brunswick and Camden Hills actually meet on Friday. So we'll know a little bit more about A after that game. But unless you want to talk on A at all, we could just jump into B.
Well, it doesn't surprise us at all with Camden Hills and Nolan Ames. That's not a surprise to anybody. We expected it. We talked about it. It was going to be the Windjammer show, and that's proven right so far. 11-0, still some time left. Until somebody beats Camden Hills, can we really consider anybody else the favorite or a contender, or is it just Camden Hills to lose?
Well, Camden A and A North. A South is an entirely different story, but that's not really our territory. A South is a gauntlet down there. But when we talk about A North, it's been all Camden Hills. As I mentioned, they got a big one coming up on Friday. They got Brunswick. They also got Hamden Academy this week. And then Coney, who's been a fun team in B. Right, we'll talk about Coney a little bit. Yeah, so
Brunswick,
they got
Coney back-to-back. Yeah,
Friday, Saturday. So this week will tell us a lot about Camden Hills. But let's just leave it at that for A. Let's get down to B, where we just mentioned your Wildcats have jumped up in the playoff picture, currently sitting number 8. Do you want to start there, or do you want to start somewhere else in B?
Well, let's just start with Prescott. Let's get out of the way. Everybody knows I want to talk about it. Now they had a huge, unfortunate injury loss against Brewer on January 10th. Bodie McPherson, who was at the time their leading scorer, went up for a layup. It was a textbook finish as Ollie Higgins was trying to chase him down and came down, just landed awkwardly. So he's out for the rest of the year, most likely. He's in a walking boot right now. And of course, you get another x-rays and whatnot. Then they turn around and they beat Caribou, which it's what I've always talked about with Coach Kingsbury is he wants to always try different things. The Wildcats had ran some 2-3. They tried man-to-man. They pulled out a 2-2-1 half-court trap against Brewer, and that's why they defeated the Witches. I mean, it caused a ton of turnovers. Then they beat Holton, and then it was a showdown with Caribou. And Prescott jumped on Caribou like that. It was 8-0 in the first couple minutes. Coach Corrigan called the timeout, settled the troops down. Caribou went on a 6-0 run, but it felt like in the second quarter, Prescott went on another big run. Case Mbua hit a 3 to make it 29-12. And I texted my wife. I was like, I feel like this is over. Like Prescott's just like in every facet of the game. It was like they played with a sense of desperation.
Yeah.
And it was a big win for them. Not only confidence, morale, they needed something to feel good about, but obviously in the heel points, they went from out of the playoff picture to probably solidifying themselves a playoff spot. And it could be the 8th spot. It will be a home prelim. I don't know. They've got some tough games coming up. Lost to Ellsworth yesterday. That game that they were within 1 going into the fourth quarter. Ellsworth put on a 16-0 run. Mm-hmm. And then they've got MDI next weekend on the road.
Tough.
Herman the following weekend on the road.
Herman, tough.
Fort Kent at home. Caribou on the road, which I think Caribou's a little pissed off.
Yeah, that might be a different story in Caribou.
I think they're a little upset.
Yeah.
And then they've also got Old Town tomorrow at home. So they've got some really tough games too. And if they can win 2 or 3, that might put them into the 7 seed. Maybe. I don't know if they're going to catch Belfast either at the 6. But it was just a massive win for them. Case Mbua is playing much better. Cruz Casavant's playing well also. So the Wildcats, I think, have found a bit of a rhythm, and that's what I talked about in the preseason show. They might be a team that nobody wants to play come mid-January, end of January, and February vacation, because they just find a way to pick up some of those, to pull off those upsets, and they pulled off another one.
The only team that wants to see him right now is Caribou. Like we mentioned, it might be a different story when they travel to Caribou.
And for Caribou, listen, they're in March for them or February, that game won't matter to them, right? Prescott's they're not in the same division anymore. It's not going to matter to them. They're looking at potentially, bringing home another gold ball. I'm not really concerned about them. We'll talk about them a little bit when we get to Class C. But yeah, I think Caribou is circled February 4th on their calendar. That's the rematch, and it'll be at the home of the Vikings.
It's going to be a ruckus crowd in Caribou.
I think, and I like drama. I like storylines and narratives. I like tension.
Yeah,
because it creates a great environment, and I think it'll be a good one over there in Caribou.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed about the reshuffling of classes too is not only are we getting some better games, maybe not top to bottom, the classes aren't as strong, but at the top it seems like there's more depth at the top, but also a lot less prelims than we've had in the past, right? So it's only top 9 and B that get there. So you get the 8-9 game for a prelim, and that's it. So I like to see that. You gotta earn your way into the playoffs this year for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, B North boys from 1 to 8. I mean, or even 1 to 9, Lawrence, they beat Oceanside on the year.
Yeah.
So there's some teams that have the capability to pull off the upset. Coney is phenomenal. They are offensively minded, but they can score in bunches. They just beat Madomic the other day. Gardner beat Coney, put up 97 points, and then they also beat Herman.
Herman, yeah, big one right there.
Herman beat MDI in triple overtime. They also lost to Belfast. And MDI is obviously one of the most high-powered teams. I mean, B North boys will be excellent. You got Erskine Academy. I think some kid had 6 dunks the other day.
Yeah, 10-2. 10-2 sitting in 7th place right now.
Yeah, they've got, they beat Lawrence. So their losses are to Madomic and Gardner. Those are 2 tough losses, 2 good teams. So it's just, I don't see any, B North, the quarterfinals, typically in Bangor, it's been pretty piss poor. Like the quarterfinals have been really bad. Like the average margin of victory was like almost 30.
But once you get to the semifinals, though.
Yeah, but even the quarters this year is going to be a bloodbath. So,
yeah, Class B looks different than it has in the past. Like once again, because of the reclassification stuff, you got some teams that are in there that haven't been in the past. But it's going to be a fun tournament. A lot of fun teams in there. Some teams that maybe we weren't circling early on in the season. For Gardner, for example, to be there at 11-1 with a couple of huge wins over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting
stuff. Trace Moody. Yeah, in Herman at number 1 with Carter Wiggin. I want to talk about him a little bit. Probably one of the most improved players in the state. Last year, Wiggin didn't. I mean, it's not that he didn't play a ton. He came off the bench. He's an all-conference player. He should be first team all Big East this year, regardless of losing Caribou and stuff. Even if Caribou and the other teams are still in the Big East, he has been awesome for the Hawks. So also got Brody Hurd, Mason Kinney's been played really well for them. Then you got obviously James Witham for MDI.
That's who I wanted. That's who I wanted to shout out real quick. You were going to mention you were shouting out some boys on Herman. Let's shout out James Witham for MDI, who, if you've seen him play his first 2 years, you knew that he had some game to him, but has exploded this year, averaging almost 30 a game, leading all of Class B in scoring this year, and has led MDI to a 12-1 mark so far in the season.
Yeah, I think he had another 40-point. Did he have another 40-point game the other night?
I,
Or was
I
it
don't,
31? I can't
I
remember.
don't
I
know.
remember seeing a graphic, but one of the most electrifying players in the state.
He's fun to
One of
watch.
the best pure point guard, just a bucket.
Yeah.
Also plays hard on the defensive end. Great all-around player. Gardner, as I mentioned, with Moody and Peacock, Coney with Brathwaite and Morin, Ellsworth. Colby Eaton's been playing really well for them. He played excellent yesterday. Jackson Berry, he was Biggie's player of the week. Also got Evan Haskell. I mean, Ellsworth, they lost a lot, but they have really rebounded nicely for a 10-3 record, and they can score a bunch. They have great length.
Yeah.
They played a 2-3 yesterday, and it was like it was packed in, but it wasn't. I mean, they're just so quick and athletic. That's another team that can win it. So Belfast with Ripley, Erskine, Prescott, Lawrence. B North there's out of the 8 divisions in Bangor, I think that are going there. I'm pretty sure only like the C North girls has a unanimous favorite.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can see a lot of different teams winning it.
It's going to make the tournament fun when it shows up here in about a month. Let's drop it on down to C, where the defending Class B champs now reside, the Caribou Vikings. Tough loss this past week to your Wildcats, as we mentioned, but still sitting in the number 1 spot at 10-2. Right behind them, my Warriors at 9-2. And then you got Foxcroft, who's been a bit of a surprise too so far this year. Go ahead and tell us about Foxcroft a little bit.
Yeah, so the Ponies handed Caribou one of their only losses this year. Lennon McAfee, if you haven't had a chance to go check out the story that Toby Nelson did on Lennon McAfee, really well done. Talks about his arm. It's locked basically, but he still has done some physical therapy to be able to lift it a little bit. And most people say they force him one way because of the disability, but he's still able to counter it and find a way to score. Then he's a pure shooter. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, please do so. But Charles Beal has done a wonderful job with the Ponies. They are a very tough, they're a physical team, and I would consider them playing. That could be, yesterday's game between Foxcroft and Caribou, that could be a preview of your Northern Maine final right there. That those two teams match up pretty well with each other. Now, Caribou likes to get out and run. Foxcroft's pretty big. They utilize their size well. That could be a fun matchup.
Any other surprises in C? I mean, at the top of the season, we mentioned Caribou as a favorite. Mananock as a favorite, Fort Kent maybe being in the mix. I don't think you had Foxcroft in there as a potential contender. Any other surprises at this point in the season?
Not really. If we talk about Caribou a little bit too, I mean, 10-2. Some people have been talking, man, struggling, right? They look bad against Presque Isle, struggle with Foxcroft at home. Relax. All right. Said the same thing about Orono a couple years ago. They had lost 3 in a row in the middle of the season. What's wrong with Orono? And they ho-hum, they win another state championship. Same thing with the Boo. Breathe, okay? There was some context. Owen Corrigan has not been feeling well. He was sick as a dog against Presque Isle, and he was sick as well the other day. And so is Landon Belanger.
You didn't mention that part when we were talking about Presque Isle, though.
I left that out on the broadcast.
There you go.
Really want to bring it, but he hasn't been feeling. Now, I'm sure if you talk to the Caribou kids, they're not going to use that as an excuse, right? They still haven't played well. Yeah. Probably even with the healthy Owen Corrigan, they don't win that game because Presque Isle they played better at that point. But Caribou, relax, they'll be fine. They've got the talent. They've got the schemes, they've got the plays, they've got the confidence, the experience. They'll be just fine. Don't worry about Caribou at all. I'm not going to second guess what they're doing. And I know the past 2 games has been a bit of a surprise to people, but I still believe that Caribou, with Owen Corrigan and the rest of them, they'll be fine.
Let's talk about my Warriors, because last time I saw you, I was actually in Fort Kent for the Fort Kent Mananock game. Great game.
You were there.
I know. It was a great game. I'm glad I went to that one. An absolute barn burner. Fort Kent coming back to win that one. Currently sitting 9-2. Their only 2 losses are to the number 1 seed in Class C and the number 1 seed in D, I believe. They lost to Machias. They've lost to Caribou. They've got some tough games still. They got Caribou still, Machias still. They got Presque Isle, they got Mananock, and they got Madawaska. So they're going to have some challenges there. Where do you see my Warriors finishing up here in the regular season?
Yeah, well, Thursday I will be in Fort Kent once again.
Yeah.
I'll be bringing that game on WHOU.
Will you be wearing your big time jacket again? I feel like you do that just to fit in when you go to Fort Kent, just so people are nice to you.
They see me more than they see you. You were there. That's why I was so surprised when I looked over my left shoulder and I saw you there. So, you actually made the trip back up home. I will probably, always. It's in the, I'm assuming Tyler Turner is going to be there and everybody else. So I might as well try to fit in, at least with them. But the Warriors with Aiden Jeffers, one of the purest scorers in the entire state. And Ron Hawk can beat you. Matt Pelletier came alive the other day, I think, against Hodgson. And then you also got Finn Kelly on the inside, well coached by Chad Sear. Fort Kent, tough week. Caribou at home. Machias at home, Presque Isle's on the road, Madawaska are all on the road.
Well, hey, when's the Caribou game? Because this was rescheduled. This was supposed to be Thursday. Back in December, so it's Thursday.
Thursday at 7:00. Mm-hmm. They are definitely a contender, 100%. And that game on Thursday, I'll be interested to see how that plays out. It'll give a good gauge once again. I want to credit Fort Kent too. A lot of people picked on their schedule from the previous years. They have really, because now with the reclassification, they could decide who to play. Yeah. They have really challenged themselves schedule-wise. They played John Bapps as well this year, a Class B school. So credit to them for saying, maybe our schedule hasn't been tough enough. They picked up Madawaska in the regular season, Machias, Presque Isle once again, kept Caribou. So props to them for the challenge. Foxcroft, we talked about Madawaska. They're the regional champions. Cooper McCarthy, Andrew Oliver, guy putting up almost 50 bombs in some games.
I like his game. The game that I went to, Cooper was sitting for whatever reasons. I don't think we ever actually found out why he sat that first half, but everything ran through Oliver in the first half, and he can light it up. He's got the green light, and he can light it up.
He needs virtually no space to shoot the basketball. He is one of the best shooters in the entire state. True Weatherby's really gotten better too. Avery Jordan. Also, they had a guy, I think Isaac Ritchie came off the bench. He lit up the second quarter up at Fort Kent, if I remember correctly. So I haven't seen WA. I know they have a lot of size too. They kind of are similar to Foxcroft Academy in that they have some size. But when I look at Caribou, Fort Kent, Foxcroft, Madawaska as the top four. Now, the only problem I see for Fort Kent, look who's sitting in seventh.
I just changed the standings. I got to go back now. Hold on. Let me see what we got in 7. Oh, Orono. Okay.
Orono. Probably if you're going to pick a team to play in the quarters, that's probably the team you don't want to play because Brady Hughes has been hurt. And he had 32 up in Caribou. He's a guy that can carry a team if he wants to. Well, not if he wants to, but he has the capability to do it.
You got big time. You got big time. Who player of the week? Like our first week of the season was Brady.
Yeah, that's probably where it's like, do I want to drop to 3 and avoid Orono, or they still have a chance to get the 1 seed technically if they beat Caribou on Thursday and then they rattle off some more wins, they could get the 1. So it's just, I would, if I'm one of those top 4 teams, it's like keep me the hell away from Orono. I don't want to see them.
You know what? I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm not worried. After seeing my boys play, Narana is better than I thought.
He's awesome. Yeah, I love Narana.
Who's the other kid? Pelletier. He's solid. And then that Finn kid is a muscular presence on the inside.
And Morneau does his job well. He plays hard defense. They got Johnson coming off the bench.
And we got
Jeffers as well.
And we got this kid named Aiden. So, I think that we could put the best player out on the floor anytime we play. That makes me feel good come tournament time.
I believe it. You're right.
Shout out to Aiden for getting his 1,000th point. Yeah. I went to the game and they said he needed like 40. What was it, like 30? What did he need to get his 1,000th point that game?
39.
And he got
36.
And he missed like 7 free throws. He could have got his 1,000 but it just wasn't meant to be. He wound up getting it versus Madawaska. So shout out to Aiden.
You were okay with that.
That was fine. I loved it. Some great highlights. He had a nice little dunk in that game too. All kinds of good stuff from Aiden. Yep. Speaking of Madawaska, let's drop on down to D. So one team that I don't think we've even really mentioned, Machias is sitting there number 1, and I feel like that's the case every year. They just, for whatever reason, just win, and kind of seem to fly under the radar. But we talked about a gauntlet in some of these classes. It's looking like D is going to be a gauntlet once you get to that second round, right? So we got Machias number 1, Madtown number 2, Bangor Christian at number 3, and then Fort Fairfield right there at 4. Is there anyone else that you would throw into the mix for Class D North, or is it going to come down to those 4 schools, you think?
I'd throw Hodgson in there.
Okay.
They're in 5th right now. Woodland has played Machias on the year. They played them once, I'm pretty sure. And it was a 10-point win for Machias. And then they will play once again on the 27th in Woodland. So I would throw also them because Evan Monk's averaging, I think, 27 a game for Woodland.
Yeah.
So that's a guy, again, if you can score like that, he's going to give you a chance to win. But yeah, with Machias, I mean, you always talk about them. I mean, Mickey Fitzsimmons, Caden Carter. Fitzsimmons is one of the best point guards around. Carter is a high flyer, one of the most athletic kids that's going to be at tournament. So Machias doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised at how badly they beat Fort Kent the first time they played. It was like a 19-point victory, but then they beat Bangor Christian by 21 the second time. First time they beat Bangor Christian by 13. Trying to go over some of their other games that I've seen here. Calais, they beat them by 23. I mean, they put up 96 on Narragansett, 73 on Jonesport Beals. They got a game with 101 points over Deer Stonington. So they're ending with Shed, Fort Kent this coming Saturday. It was a game I had planned on doing.
That one's in Fort Kent?
That's in Fort Kent.
I'm heading home. I'm heading home this weekend. I got to go home for our county event, so I might go catch that one right there then.
4 o'clock on Saturday. I had planned on doing it, but I have, of course, I got a kid that plays basketball. They're down in MDI this weekend.
It's tough
on Saturday, so I got to go watch them. But I also got Skank as well on the 31st. That's not this coming Saturday, but the next, and they end the season with Narragansett. So Machias, no surprise to me. Madawaska, not a surprise at all. Bangor Christian, again, Fort Fairfield. They've had a loss to their season. They've lost one player off the roster. It was pretty important. So I'm not sure Fort Fairfield. They just played Hodgson yesterday, lost by 20. Hodgson with Carliglio and with Oliver. Hunter Sanford is a fantastic defender as well. Oliver's probably the best defender on the team, but Hunter Sanford really solid as well. I really like this Hodgson team. Skank at 7, Piscataquis at 8, Central Aroostook at 9, and Penobscot Valley at 10. That is a tough class as well.
Talk to me about Madawaska, because I've only paid attention to really 2 games out of them this year. One was the loss to Fort Fairfield, which we covered. Big Time Hoops was up there for that one with you with a magnificent call on that one.
Thank you.
And then they also lost to my Warriors on the road. So I gotta be. I haven't been paying too much attention to D North. I've just been focused on the entire state, and we know that there's a great crop of freshmen across the state this year. Freshmen that are making a real impact, whether it's Kaylon Watkins at Cheverus or Isaiah at Coney. Quinn, even though he played last year, technically a freshman this year. I feel like we haven't been mentioning or highlighting him as much as some of these other freshmen across the state. What have they been up to?
Quinn's doing his typical thing. I mean, he's not any real different than he was last year. I felt like his jumper's smoother.
Yep.
I brought that up with his dad, who's also his coach, when I first saw him play in Central Aroostook, is that his jumper just looks quicker. It's a quicker release. It's just more fluid. But of course, he's 6'6" as a freshman, and he looks for contact. He likes to get hit, which a lot of kids shy away from it, but not Quinn Pelletier. Isaac Bollier has played pretty well for them also. Alec Jondro is probably one of the most improved players that I've watched from last year to this season. Jeremiah Turner does a great job on the inside. Braden Pelletier's had some nice moments also. Madawaska, they have the size. And they have the size, the talent. Like Quinn and Braden Pelletier and Turner, they've got some horses.
Yeah.
A loss to Fort Fairfield, I mean, it was
a toss-up, literally,
that was wild.
Yeah.
They win it, it was a fortuitous ricochet, basically, is what it was. And it went right. Walsh happened to be right there. But hey, listen, that's the way it works sometimes. And then they lost. Bollier got called for a foul at the end of the game in Fort Kent, and Roundhouse stepped to the line, buried all 3. So that they've got 2 losses by a combined 4 points.
I got 2 questions for you that just came to my head after this conversation. So one, your call for that game winner at Fort Fairfield, the thing I take away is the ricochet. You mentioned off the ricochet.
Yeah.
That's your ricochet call. Where does that call stack up in your all-time great calls? Like where
That was the best game that I have, as far as the finish, that I've ever called.
What about your call? What about your signature? Is that your signature call right there?
No, not really. I've got different words that I use that I've heard other people start using. Also, I've always said English. That's one of my favorite words, and it's always with a little spin on the basketball. Some people use it in different terms. I use it with spin. I've said money is a big thing that I say now, and a big three, like Robin said a big three last year for Caribou against Orno. The ricochet, it just came to my mind. And it's funny because the next day, I would go into my full-time job. I do a lot of deliveries for office supplies, stuff like that. And I would go into the gym and people are playing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And they don't know it's me, which is fine. I don't really need them to know, but they're listening to the Madawaska Fort Fairfield game. So that's pretty cool.
The ricochet. I like that one.
Yeah, no, it was neat. I did the game all by myself, and shout out to Emily Alla, who was on the camera. Her son plays for Fort Fairfield, and she got the shot. So
nice.
Yeah,
it's funny. The audio confused some people because we put the clip up online afterwards, which went absolutely insane. It got 10,000 likes on Facebook. It just literally blew up on Facebook for whatever reason. But people were commenting did it ricochet off the ceiling? They thought it had hit the roof or something like that, and they were a little confused. But that's just the internet being
Bowyer and Kennedy, I think, came together and kind of they canceled each other out or something. It just a series of unfortunate events for Madawaska in that one, but they'll be fine. They still got the 2 seed, and they'll be in Bangor, and they'll be a threat. So that game to them, they just got to be. If they play Fort Fairfield, they just got to beat them in Bangor.
Yep.
They got them again on the 25th. They got them the 23rd on Friday.
Let's drop it on down to Class S there. I don't know if you can see that, but let's go to Class S. Small ball, number 1, Jonesport Beals, historically one of the better programs when it comes to small ball up here in the north. Easton 2, Washburn 3, Katahdin 4. Class S, what are your takeaways as we look at the playoff picture with a handful of games to go?
Well, Easton is rolling right now. They did lose to Central Heuristic the other day, but before then, they had pulled off some pretty remarkable upsets. They trailed Marceau by 16 going into the fourth quarter at the barn, came back and won it by 4. And then they turned right around and beat Washburn, who's a team right behind them, by 13. So it's, this Easton team could be the one to watch out for, someone that didn't really expect in the beginning of the season, had a lot of losses from last year, but with Pelletier, with Cochran, I think that Easton has surprised some people. They've got a tough schedule too. Their losses, you look at Fort Fairfield, the first game of the year, Madawaska, some of their other losses. They just lost to Central Heuristic yesterday. Southern Heuristic, a 4-point loss, but that was right before the Central Heuristic, or right after it. So they've still got Southern Heuristic again at home on the 24th. They play Madawaska again. They got Washburn at home on the 30th. That's probably a big game. I think I'm off that night. I might head over to the barn. I haven't been to the barn in quite some time.
Yeah, when it comes to iconic gyms in the state, where does Easton rank?
It's number 1. Also, they have the best logo in the state. Both of those. Yeah. It's not really like a traditional bear.
No.
It's the best logo in the state. Washburn at 3, with Cole Curtis and Garrett Plord. I'm not shocked that Washburn's there. Katahdin. After them, those are the top 4. But Jonesport Beals, Easton, Washburn, Katahdin. Shed. I haven't seen Shed play. They lost to Jonesport Beals by 11. Then they played Machias. Lost to Cals by 14. Beat Lee. Got hammered by Bangor Christian. Beat Narraguagus by 1. Yeah, but they were only lost by 5 to Jonesport Beals on the 6th. So might be something there too in Shed. In Eastport. Have you been to Eastport?
No, not been to Eastport.
That's quite a haul.
Yeah. Looking at the standings here, what makes the Class S different than everyone else that we looked at is there's no 11-1 team or 10-2. A lot of these teams have losses. It's just very mixed up. 8-4, 7-5, 6-5, 6-7. But I think part of that is because they play up a lot, right? They're not just beating up on each other. They're playing some Class D schools as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, the S tournament will be interesting, and I feel bad for them in a way because the quarters are the Tuesday before vacation, so there's no set. We don't really know when they're going to play. So
Yeah.
like if the Easton girls and the Easton boys make it, they're trying to wait so Easton is in the same session, so they don't have to travel twice because you got a lot of these schools like Shed is a drive, Jonesport Beals obviously,
Yeah.
Washburn Van Buren, Wisdom. Deer Isle is not a crazy drive, but trying to keep these schools in the same session on the same day so they're not playing Tuesday and Thursday, one Tuesday and one Thursday.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Which I think is, hey, MPA.
And it's gonna help bring those fans, right? And the fans can come down and see both schools instead of making multiple trips. So might be the right move right there.
The only thing that sucks, I don't know if you caught my post where I talked about the schedule where it was I think so Monday night is Class C quarterfinals, and then Tuesday morning is S semifinals, and then it goes back Tuesday night to C quarterfinals.
Interesting.
So it's like as the guy who runs the streaming portion of the broadcast of Bangor, will have NFHS will have Monday night, and then WHOU will take over Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday night it goes back to NFHS, which surely will not confuse anybody. Because nobody,
we've all got to figure it out by now, right? We go through this every year. We should all know by now.
Nobody knows. Every year I get messages, "Hey, why I can't see the game?" It's like, well, because it's not on WHOU. It's not there.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait for the semis.
It's a pain in the ass, but it's part of it. I'm the guy who has to answer all the questions.
Yeah,
as long as it works.
You're the guy with all the info. Wrapping it up here for the boys episode here on Northbound the podcast. Got a couple more minutes before we get up out of here for this one. Is there anything you want to go off on? Any Stevie's takes or anything like that that have kind of been bothering you, or any shout outs you want to give before we get up out of here for the boys episode?
No, not really. I just say my picks I picked MDI, Caribou, Hodgson, and I can't remember who I picked in S before the season. I don't know if I actually did picks on this podcast or somewhere else. I think I picked Katahdin.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with all those. Sticking with all of them. I'm living and dying by my picks. So Katahdin one scares me though. That's probably the only one I'm like, they're 6 and 7. I don't know.
Still got time. They still got time to figure it out.
I'm gonna stick with my MDI's in 2, Caribou's 1, Hodgson's 5th, Katahdin they're 4th. But Hodgson was 9 and 4 now.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I have one more question before we get up out of here for the boys one, because you just been name dropping this episode. How many schools do you think you could rattle off 10 kids on the roster?
Oh, jeez. Not as many as you think. How many? Yeah. Not many. I mean, Prescott.
How about 7? How about 7 kids? How many teams could you name off 7 kids on the roster?
Oh, maybe 10.
I think it's more than that. You've been rattling off like 7 names at a time for every team we talked about today.
I did the Orono Caribou game a couple weeks ago, and I named off back in the days of Nate DeSisto and Jackson Coots and Damian Heeger and my broadcast partner was like, "How do you remember them?" I was like, "I don't know, man.
It's just that's what you keep up there. That's what you choose to keep.
Useless knowledge in my head."
That's good stuff. Well, that's going to do it for the boys episode here on Northbound, presented by Katahdin Trust. We're going to do a second episode here for the girls. So if you listen to this one, just look on the feed or the girls one, hop into that one. We'll get you all caught up. For Steve, for myself, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the girls pod coming up shortly.